Hi guys, so I was actually planning to post something different, but we've got breaking news. Well, is it really breaking news? NewJeans have officially lost the appeal they filed to overturn the injunction ruling. That part was expected, but it's interesting to read what the High Court had to say about their case. Let's go through it, but obligatory disclaimer and all that jazz. As you guys know, the court granted ADOR's injunction back in March, halting NewJeans' independent activities. NewJeans filed an appeal after their objection was dismissed, arguing that this injunction would cause harm to them professionally. While ADOR may suffer financially, NewJeans argued that a large gap in activities would damage their careers irreparably. They also argue that HYBE unfairly audited Hee-jin and dismissed her as CEO of ADOR. NewJeans believe this, along with other claims of mistreatment, are breaches of trust. However, all of their points were once again rejected. First of all, the court actually says HYBE acted in good faith toward the exclusive contract. They established a brand new sub-label dedicated solely to NewJeans and invested substantial capital. Regarding Hee-jin, the court says her dismissal came after a management rights dispute. She is not party to NewJeans' exclusive contract, nor does the agreement state she must be their CEO. ADOR did, in fact, offer her a producer role and even reappointed her as internal director. Now this part is an ether. The ruling states, former CEO Min sought ways to control ADOR and ultimately undermine the integrated structure that connected HYBE, ADOR, and NewJeans. She's been demanding revisions to her shareholder agreement since 2023, while also seeking ways to escape HYBE's control by taking NewJeans or gaining independent control of ADOR. It can only be judged that former CEO Min is in a position to destroy the foundation of the integrated structure that existed between herself, ADOR, and NewJeans, which achieved great results. The court is basically saying that Hee-jin's scheming against HYBE had a negative ripple effect. It strained the connection between HYBE and ADOR, which strained the connection between NewJeans and HYBE, which ultimately strained the connection between NewJeans and ADOR. As CEO, she controlled ADOR's creative and business decisions, so she held a lot of power over the agency's foundation. She wielded this power to seek independence and create conflict with the parent company. This is not a situation of big conglomerate against lowly employee. The court states that Hee-jin was powerful enough to cause such a collapse. If NewJeans is upset that the original structure and foundation of ADOR collapsed, they need to take it up with the person who was at the helm of it, which is Hee-jin. The court also highlights that ADOR is continuing to support NewJeans and plan future activities, but the members refuse to communicate. ADOR is making efforts to fulfill its obligations, but NewJeans still insist the trust is broken simply because they want a certain producer or feel disappointed. These reasons do not satisfy the legal definition for breach of trust. The court is saying what a lot of us have been saying for months. NewJeans is leaving ADOR because they want to work with Hee-jin. That's all fine and good, but that's not a valid reason for terminating an exclusive contract. The court points out that from the time NewJeans signed their contracts, they understood and agreed that departing arbitrarily would cause great harm to ADOR. Walking out and reaping all the benefits of their future activities independent of ADOR is completely unreasonable due to the agency's level of investment. NewJeans went into this case probably believing they'd be the sympathetic party, but somewhere along the way, that's just not what happened. The injunction ruling, the objection ruling, and now this appeal ruling all have the same undertone. They're all saying the same thing, which is that NewJeans are not the actual victims here. It is ADOR that's suffering the most damage. Actually, this ruling kind of said that verbatim. NewJeans argued that this injunction means they can't work for an extended period of time. The court's response was, first of all, that's not true. You can work within the exclusive contract. Secondly, you chose to go on hiatus, so any damage from that is self-inflicted. Lastly, it's ADOR that is losing out the most due to your hiatus, not you. All I have to say is damn, guys. NewJeans' leverage in any settlement negotiation is completely gone now. Not that they had much before this anyway. Even parties who go in knowing they have a strong case will agree to settle if it gets them what they want, save lawyer fees, and avoid the overall risk of trial, because anything is possible in court, even if you do have a strong case. Plus, you open yourself up to discovery, and why air your dirty laundry like that if you don't have to? ADOR understood this basic legal principle and has been open to settling in the past. Their tone completely changed at the last hearing after NewJeans' side shut down the possibility of a settlement again. They told the judge that it will be easier to reach an agreement once a ruling is made. I told you guys that ADOR is moving toward a more aggressive legal approach, and the gloves will be off when the contract is ruled valid. ADOR has no real reason to settle at this point. They have two strong rulings in their favor, and NewJeans was ordered to pay their legal fees associated with the injunction. We're already approaching the third hearing for the main lawsuit, and a ruling may actually come before the end of the year. NewJeans do have the right to escalate their case all the way up to the Supreme Court, granted that the court agrees to hear their case. I believe it's possible NewJeans will go this route, but I don't believe the Supreme Court would hear it. If they argue their freedom of occupation was infringed upon, then that becomes a constitutional issue which the Supreme Court may consider. Once they review the facts, though I don't think they'll go forward with a hearing. I said verbatim that pulling this contract termination stunt and trying to follow Heejin meant that NewJeans would go on a lengthy hiatus and be in lawsuit hell for years to come. We're here now, and the fans who enabled this have to accept that you rooted for this, you chose this, now lay in the bed you made. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.